Elvis Duran in the Morning Show.
Well, everybody, look like you're busy. The boss is here. We got to talk to Elvis Duran. Hello, sir. How are you?
What a day. You know what? We're so excited to launch our documentary From Worst to First. It's right. It hits right in the heart for all radio nerds and all New Yorkers who grew up listening to Z100. It's really a lot of fun.
When I heard about this coming out, there's not very many projects that come out that you're like you get over emotional for. Like when you find out that Disney is actually going to do a whole big thing about Marvel, like 12 years ago, and you're like, are you kidding? I grew up reading this stuff. You're actually going to do something like this?
Wow.
This station is pretty much the reason I'm even doing anything in this world involving radio. I was 5 years old when that station came on. It was shortly around the time MTV launched. And my older sister, being a little bit older than me, MTV was her thing. Z100 coming on was my thing because I was listening to the radio, getting ready to go to school. Right. And Scott was like the only main voice early on, and then was doing the mornings. And he would give out a phone number. And I was like, you can call a radio station? So when my parents weren't looking, I'd pick up the phone and call the radio station.
Wow.
And Scott used to put me on all the time. So
really, do you have recordings of those?
Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of them, which makes me laugh because when you do it on your show with Scary Jones, one of your producers and a good friend of mine, you'd play his clips of him calling into the station and doing things like that. I'm like, I did the same thing. It's just weird parallel thinking. Unfortunately,
I wasn't in New York, but I was in the Dallas area, so I was the kid on the phone, irritating the living hell out of the DJs.
Oh yeah,
the heritage, Z100's heritage. And the fact that it was there as the soundtrack to people's lives, for lack of a better description, is just remarkable. The history that you have with that station it's your unique story, and everyone has those stories as they talk about their relationship with Z100. I'm fascinated with it. I'm a radio geek at heart, and Z100 is the ultimate radio geek conversation.
It is. And look, I'll even go a little bit further to yours. And you came in what, like 89, I think, somewhere in there.
89, yeah.
And hearing you in the afternoon, and then doing the 5 o'clock whistle on Fridays, but not making it as corny where they would do like take this job and shove it. You always had like high energy stuff, and made it just seem like, oh my God, this guy is never calming down. He's never not high. He's always balls to the wall. Like there's always a party going on.
We also did take this job and shove it. I did all that old school crap, but yeah, that was a different time in radio. We were told to turn off the mics and scream, and now if you hear someone doing that on the radio, you're like, what the hell were we thinking? But that's the sound for Z100 back then,
So your involvement with the station, for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't even know you, Elvis is like the main morning show for iHeartRadio. He's on in like 90 markets, and he's just been a massive success story and a staple in this industry, and also one of the rarities of being at one station for so long, which is unheard of and almost impossible to do now.
I've tried to leave. I keep trying to go. They won't let me leave. Believe me.
Just keep throwing more checks at you.
Well,
you took over mornings in 96, and then you had been with that station since 89. So like you're pretty much synonymous, like as much as Scott was for starting this thing. There was an old quote when I think it was on the 15th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. They had Dennis Miller, who was the host of Weekend Update at the time, standing with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Chevy was going on about Weekend Update and how great it is, and it wouldn't have been anything had he not done anything, or and Dennis goes, "Hang on, pal," and he goes, "You may have knocked her up, but I married her," So he's like, I was the one who made this thing happen, and that's pretty much you. You're so synonymous with this station. This documentary focuses on the early creation of the station and the unheard of campaign of where they went from last place to first place within such a relatively short amount of time, and all the stuff that Scott and the Morning Zoo and all the other very talented people at the station at that time built this thing to last as long as it has. And then you take over like midway through the entire history, and you and Tom Pullman just reinvented what was already being reinvented. The top 40 format, Scott brought back to life in the 80s. In the middle of the 90s, alternative was the big thing and was killing off a lot of top 40. But top 40 came back under you guys and has been, devastatingly popular ever since.
You hear my dogs?
Yeah, I hear them.
They only bark when I'm doing something important like this. Well, look, we didn't really invent anything. I mean, we just took it back to its heritage because that's where we needed to go with it. And just a simple straight ahead top 40 radio station. And I know Scott took Z100 from worst to first, and we took it from first to worst. So we had some work to do, and thank God it paid off, And to your point, Z100 was there long before I got here, and it'll be there long after I leave. And so we're just stopping by to keep the lights on for a little while. I've been there a long time, but this documentary really is, as you said, aimed at Scott and his worst to first legacy. And I can't even believe they hired him. He was this hillbilly out of Tampa.
Yeah.
In New York, and of course they never made it to New York. They kept the station out in Secaucus, New Jersey. Had the station been in New York City, I don't know if he could have handled it. I don't know, But when you watch the documentary, you can see how the odds were against them. People were betting against Z100 ever winning. And Scott Shannon, this stranger from Tampa, what the hell does he know? Look what he did, though, Eric. I mean, it's just an incredible story. It really is.
It is. For people who want to check out this documentary, it's Worst to First, the true story of Z100 in New York. It's pretty much the birth of the station, the birth of a music format, a rebirth of a music format, and a birth of a morning show format that was, copied all over the place many, many years after its creation. It's out February 11th, which will be today, as this is airing. It's on Apple iTunes. It's on Google Play, Amazon, all the video services, Vudu, right? Yeah, Vudu, Microsoft, all of those places you can go and go buy. Why are you renting? Go buy the thing and watch it to your heart's content. If you really just want to hear an amazing story, an unheard of story involving the history of radio, this is definitely a documentary for you.
Truly, it is the Radio Geeks documentary. It really is. And plus, if you grew up in the New York area, out on Long Island or in New Jersey, and you grew up listening to Z100, it's kind of fascinating to kind of go back in time because we've got John Bon Jovi on there, we've got Joan Jett, Debbie Gibson,
right? Yeah,
all those names that were at the launch and foundation of Z100 back in the day, and plus some of the original members of the morning show are on there as well. You
mentioned when you took over, you brought it from first to worst. There's got to be a sequel in there because the way. Very, very minor spoiler, but the way that this documentary ends, you took a page from, did you ever see The Late Shift, the movie on HBO about Letterman and Leno? So the whole movie was being made, and it was all supposed to be like Letterman's triumph and walking away and rebuilding and taking over the industry. And as they were finishing it, the whole industry shifted because Leno had Hugh Grant on, and then all of a sudden it tilted in Leno's favor. But they already shot the movie, so they put in like a 30-second screen with fonts just saying until Jay Leno had Hugh Grant on the show, and then the Tonight Show, blah 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 at the end. That's sort of how this ends with that documentary about you and Tom Pullman. So it's leaving it open for a sequel. So First to Worst has got to be part 2 for this, right?
Yeah. How we tanked a radio station. It's so interesting, but we did. Top 40 radio, top 40 music it just kind of fell, and we were right there in the middle, and we were part of the problem. And then we tried to fix it for a while, doing different types of formats. And then when we went back to our roots, it popped up again. We went from worst to first once again.
When you got into radio, I mean, I listened to your audiobook before I could even get your book, because out here, I mean, I'm not far from the city, but like they didn't have the book in the store yet. So I just bought the audio version, was listening to my commute in and out of the city, and then eventually got the copy. You should go and get it and listen to it. You talked about your history into radio and calling in and building a radio station in your closet and all of this stuff, and then getting into New York. And you wanted to be in radio like we all did, but did you ever see being a syndicated show ever in your history? Like, I don't think that ever comes to somebody like, I want to get into radio to be syndicated across the country. You just want to get in the radio to talk to people, get free stuff, talk to girls, things like that, you know?
It was an easy gig to try to make some money at. I never even had any wish to be in New York. It's just, you just moved where the jobs were available. And
right.
Finally one was available there, and that's how I ended up there. No, I never ever thought it would be this, you know, and I've never been one of those 5-year, 10-year plan guys with a list of things I want to get accomplished. I've always just been lucky, and just I watch the signs on the highway, know when to exit and enter and merge, and you know it's been pretty easy. I got to be honest. I've been very lucky, very, very, very lucky. Well, more luck than anything.
The most successful people always have the right people around them, the more talented, the more smart, money wise, all that stuff. That's where a real successful person becomes, because they have the right people around them. And your whole career, getting your show syndicated, your on-air staff, your off-air staff, your manager, everybody around you has been with you through like the majority of your run here, and it's such a close knit, like a radio mafia, if you will, a family, that there's no way you guys couldn't have succeeded. Everybody there wants to be there, wants to pull their weight, wants to do more, wants to make this is a personal thing for them to make everything so successful, and you're damn lucky that you found all that.
Well, no, without doubt, without the people that I have working with me every day, it wouldn't take off at all.
Yeah,
they really are the engine behind the vehicle. And you know, and yeah, to your point, 4 members of the show, 5 who actually work for the show have been there all 26 years or however many years it's been, which is sort of unusual too. I mean, it's weird. All these weird things are going on, and I don't know what we did in a past life to deserve this incredible fortune. But we got it, you know, and we're holding on to it until they kick us out.
Very blessed. Everybody eventually, you know, winds up their career or something happens that ends their career, whether they wanted to or not. But you're in that spot where you can keep this going as long as you want, or just say, you know what, I think I'm kind of done. I think next time is going to be the end. Do you see yourself stopping? Because I don't see most people, not even at your level, but just have that passion, that love of radio, that just like, I'll do this till I'm dead, and they pull the microphone from my hands.
I guess the way I look at it is this, Eric. I don't want to retire. That's not even something I think about. I may not do this here at Z100. Maybe I'll go do something somewhere else. I don't know quite yet, to be honest. I do know that I have this thing against old guys playing Dua Lipa songs every day. I mean, you know, look, I'm never ashamed to admit I'm approaching 60 years old. In a couple of years, I'll be 60. And, you know, I'm not trying to pretend to be some young disc jockey on a radio station playing all the hits for the kids. Let's be honest, you know, that's not where I am, and that's not where my lane can go. But I do my best. So quitting this and retiring and not doing this, never. But maybe somewhere else doing something else. Hopefully iHeart will have something else for me. They got other stuff.
I can't see you not doing something. So it may not be this current version that you're doing, but I mean, I've seen you do, and in person too, like when we're at Jingle Ball, like you do that little side stage thing in the back where you're doing it for the CW, or you're doing it for video clips, and you're talking to celebrities and artists, and you just know how, you're very charismatic and you know how to talk to people. I can't see you not doing something like that going forward.
Well, what would I do? You know, I was thinking about that because, you know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day. Like, well, if you didn't do this, what would you do? And I'm like, and it scared me because I realized I don't have a second choice. This is really all I know how to do. So what am I going to do, sit around and just rot? No. You know, my parents, who both passed away, when they retired from their jobs, they didn't have a plan. And I just kind of watched them slowly melt away. And I'm afraid of that. I don't want to have that life. I don't want to end my days sitting there looking around and picking my nose and wondering what I'm doing. So yeah, I must keep doing this. Otherwise I'm lost.
I gotta also say too, throw a compliment your way. I know that's always awkward to do, but all the years that I've known, I mean, I'm friends with Brody and a bunch of your other staff, and all the years that I've had some sort of acquaintance or work thing with or around you, you've always been very kind and very generous with your time, and I gotta say thank you, because there's not many people in this business that do. They're one way on air, but when they're off air, they're a different person, or they just don't want to be bothered by anything. And you've never been that. So I just wanted to say, thank you for all the years of how kind you've been.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. And no, there are people that bother the living hell out of me. we all have a list of those, and you have them too. No, but I enjoy being able to. It's an honor for someone to call and say, "Hey, I'm doing this. I want you on it. Will you?" I look around. Are you talking to me? You want me to come on with you?
Yeah.
So if you find something I say interesting, I owe you. Thank you for the opportunity.
One of the things, and people out there may not know this, but for a little bit of time while we were still doing Opie and Anthony, it was just a weird thing that kind of happened where something was mentioned either on our show or your show, and then the audio got to the other show. And for a while, we were just passing, it was like the telephone game back and forth. They're like, "Oh, Elvis Duran was talking about us. Hey, Elvis is good. We like Elvis's show. They're great, whatever." And then all of a sudden, the audio went over to you, and you're like, "Oh, I like Opie and Anthony." It was like, it shouldn't have worked, but it did. It was a weird thing that happened.
I've never understood that competition thing. Look, I want everyone in this business to do well, because we all do well. If they're zooming around listening to different shows, hey, make us one of them. I'll be your second or third choice. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've never understood that in your face, nasty attitude, the fights between shows. And I never got into that. I don't like that. And it's just, we can all get along. It's no big deal.
Oh yeah. But it was very rare for that show, because we had our problems with Howard, but we also did this Jocktober segment that was focusing on people who were not doing what we do well around the country. So we would put the spotlight on these people who were just not doing good morning shows or doing good radio. And at time to time they always like, "Well, you got to talk about this Elvis Duran show." And we're like, "No, but they're doing it right. They're good. They're not. There's nothing to shit on them for." That we would even do that. So that's why it never came up. But then past when we stopped doing that segment, they're just kind of this weird little show friendship between the two just happened. It was like, it was meant to be. They're good people.
Hey, look, our show isn't for everyone. I know that. And there are some people that think we're a bunch of screaming geeks and whatever. I don't listen. It's my point. I'm sure Opie and Anthony would say the same thing. If you don't like our show, turn it the hell off. I'm not kidnapping you and making you listen to it. It was interesting because the Opie and Anthony show and our show actually had, I don't even know if we had much crossover in the audiences, did we? Because the shows were so different from each other. Which is what made
definitely not when we were doing mornings, no, because you were either listening to Howard, listening to you, or listening to us. Right. That's pretty much how it went. So there wasn't really crossover. It wasn't like you had, because you were still on terrestrial, you didn't have that replay in the afternoon like we did or what Howard did. So if you listened to one, you could hear the other at a different time during the day, and we could be your afternoon show selection, or instead of your morning thing. So yeah, we didn't really have that kind of a crossover. I do want to say on your show, I think one of my favorite parts is the first 10 minutes of your show every morning, because it's the most difficult. Everyone's kind of trying to get their groove. Everyone's tired, doesn't want to be there, but you're on. You got to put on put your best face forward. But the real Elvis kind of comes out, because sometimes you're cranky, sometimes you're very direct, you know what you want, and then you go, "I don't want to play." You know what? I had this song stuck in my head the other day. I'm playing this song and it has nothing to do with the format or any of the stations that you're on, and you just go and you play it, and then you guys are singing along to it. I go, "That's what it's supposed to be." He's playing something that's so off-brand, but because he likes it and they like it, or something else was coming up and it just made sense. It was like, yeah, they're having fun. I want to be a part of this. I want to listen to it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the first 10 minutes we're actually waking up in front of a microphone. It's not a good policy.
Yeah.
You made me think of something. I'm sort of preaching this right now and to my friends in this business. What we do on Z100 in our stations every morning is something that was invented in the 1950s. Playing songs in a rotation, blocks of commercials, formatted. I so dislike that we're still doing it that way. if we were more of a digital first morning show, we would have the control and the ability just to go off and do what we want, be spontaneous, play, play an old dance song or play an old rock song, play some Nirvana, and then play Dua Lipa if we wanted, whatever. But we're so formatted by, again, something that was invented in the 1950s. That's how long we've been following this format. And I think it's time and thank God for digital. Maybe that's where I'm going to go next. So I can just sit there and do what I want, But until then, we're shackled. We're shackled to the formatics of this radio station.
And that, I get that's the job, but also to your guys' credit and all your staff is when you guys really started putting out the on-demand, the podcast version of your morning show every day, which you look up Elvis Duran, a morning show on wherever you get your podcast, and you find, and it's the whole personality portion of your show condensed without the commercials, without the music, and you listen to that and you go, They have it. Even if they didn't have it's nice to have the music and the commercials for a break because you want to go eat and I was like, I got 12 minutes. I can go and do, whatever I need to do. But to hear them there and you go, they would not have a problem if they were not on a music station. Say iHeart moved you guys to a talk station at some point. There's no problem. You can still do everything you did. You're just not playing the songs, but everything else is still intact. You guys have the chemistry, everything gels, and it's like there's no stopping you.
You know what? I actually enjoy having the music, but not like this. Like I've already complained about the formatics and stuff. But just to be able to throw something on with spontaneity, that to me would be the ultimate show to do. And I'm going to start working on that. Thanks. I'm quitting my job because of you.
Please do. I'd love to hear that. Some rinky-dink podcast convinces Elvis Duran to walk. One of the things, and I'll let you go, you've been very generous with your time. You said something a few years ago when WPLJ was getting ready to close down, and you were goofing because you said, it's like, look, I know because of laws and everything, it's like, charge us $1. We'll pay $1, put our station on that other station at the same time we're on at this station, and if we're better over there, then we all win. It's fine. Whatever they have going on is not doing it. Yeah, you said that. It's hilarious. Okay. But you also then transitioned to this, and you're talking about radio and why they weren't succeeding and what was going on with the current state of radio. And you said it almost like a testimonial where it came out. It's like, listen to radio for the personalities. Like, you can get music everywhere, any streaming service. You can get all this other stuff at other places, but you can't get the personalities. Like, listen to radio for the personalities. That's what it's for. Make that connection. Listen to those people. Invite them into your home. Become a family listening to this. Radio is about the personalities. And I think a lot of people don't think that way anymore. Like, if they listen to a radio station now, I think, unfortunately, they think it's like, well, that's somebody's playlist. I wouldn't listen to my best friend's playlist that they sent to me, and I trust their opinion. I've known them all my life. But you go, I don't want to listen to their playlist. And then if you think of the radio and you go, well, that's somebody else's playlist, and I can't skip the songs, But what's bringing me there? It's the people on the air talking with you for your drive, for your midday, if you're in the office, for your commute anywhere. That's what's connecting everybody, and that's what radio used to be. And I think we need to rediscover that again.
Well, if not, radio's a dinosaur. It's done.
Yeah.
There are so many other ways to get your content, so many other ways to get your music these days. Wow, I can't believe we're still on and still doing it this way and expecting to win. So you're right. Look, it sounds kind of corny. I'm in the friendship business. If you're driving to work in the morning and you've had a crappy day at home or you're ready for a crappy day at work, we're there to kind of help you transition from one to the other. And that's what we do. And we play a song here and have a laugh there. And it's pretty simple. I mean, I hate it when people try to overthink it, but a radio station that just plays music. Why? You're right. I think the way you said it, Erik, is just it. Why do I want to listen to someone else's playlist? I mean, and I can't even fast forward through it. I've never heard it put that way. I think that's a clever way to say exactly what is wrong with the radio.
Well, I'm piggybacking off your sentiments where you're just saying listen to radio for the personalities. I think that's one of those things that needs to be etched in stone somewhere, that listen to radio for the personalities, because that's where all of us who are in radio and whatever level of this business, we all grew up with these unique stories of, I turned on the radio one day and I heard this person talking, or I heard these jingles being made, or the way that the boss jock came in with the vibrato and the reverb and all that, and you're just like, it was so weird but compelling, and then you eventually figure out your own way to doing to carving your path in this business. I don't know if there's kids nowadays who are listening to the radio and stuff like that and making that connection anymore without having the personalities online. Sorry, not online, on the air to in order to enhance that, to make the connection, to go, I want to do this at some point in my life.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the TikTok generation, and they're doing fine over there. They don't even know what they're missing. What we do is something that's like, what is that? Radio. And I get it. So we have to be smarter in who we're targeting toward. If they said to me, hey, Elvis, we need to be number one with teens, I'm going to look at them and go, well, that's stupid. Yeah. No teens want to listen to this. I mean, maybe a few, but you're not going to get a lot of them. They found their own world down over there in TikTok land. Yeah. Let's be real. Let's figure out who we have available. Let's go for them. And so, Z100 used to be the station all the teens listened to, but look at Scott Shannon. He was an older guy even when he signed on. He wasn't appealing to teenagers. He wouldn't be now, but neither would I.
Imagine if he was. Imagine like some weird cultural change, and they're like, they like 80-year-old boss jocks on there. Like, this is the big thing.
Yeah, let's be real here. But you know what, Z100 back then, there was no TikTok across the street. So Z100 had everyone listening. If you're a teenager in the New York area, you listen to Z100. That's not that way anymore. This has all changed, and there are some people in our business that haven't figured that out, which is silly, right?
Yeah. It's puzzling, this business, because you want it to succeed. You don't like hearing when people are losing their jobs, or stations are like they're syndicating stations now, like whole formats, and just switching the illegal IDs, but everything else is the same. And it's like you're missing the contrast and the diversity of personalities from different markets, and hearing what works in other parts of the country or even other parts of the world, seeing how everybody connects and comes together over different things. And I just don't want to see that go away. I mean, I guess it's, the sign of the times that everything does eventually change, but it's still here. There's still time to make it better or reinvent itself again if people would just focus and pay attention to what's going on. But, I'm always hopeful. I don't like to see the business do bad, but I'm still every day hoping there's more opportunities, more people can get on the air, more people can do stuff, and just see this thing thrive again.
Well, we're not dead. No. And I don't want to come across as someone who's bashing the living hell out of radio. No. I still love radio. I think we're still very successful. We're doing well, and we're not the only one. So let me make it very clear. I just feel like if we don't switch it up a little bit, I think then that's the end. It's the end. So let's switch it up,
Yeah, we're speaking from something that we love, and we want to continue to see it do well and spread joy to everybody else, not just go away because everybody stopped paying attention. It's like a plant; they stopped watering it and the thing died. So right. we got to keep watering and keep putting it out in the sun so people can enjoy it.
You've done a very good job painting these pictures today. You're doing a great job with this.
I'm a dummy. I'm a radio dummy like everybody else.
I think everything you've brought up is very interesting, and you maybe kind of rethink some things. I appreciate that. I'm not only here for you, you're here for me too. I enjoy talking to you. This was great.
Well, me too, because if this went terrible, you can blame Dave Brody for this, but it went great, so thank me all you want.
Yeah. Everything anyway.
But for everything we've been talking about, if you want to go back a ways and to see what and hear and re-experience everything we all did back when we were younger in our love for radio, check out this documentary, From Worst to First, the true story of Z100 New York. It's out everywhere now. You can get it on iTunes, Apple Plus, Amazon, Vudu, Google Play, the Microsoft Xbox stuff. It's everywhere you can get any kind of digital content right now. Go out and buy it, watch it, learn from it, enjoy it, and then maybe this is the thing that sets another generation off. Like, I watched this documentary. I can't believe what they used to do. I want to try to do something like that. And this might be setting up, paving the way for future radio superstars.
Hey, whatever we can do.
And then looking forward to part 2 when, focusing on the reviving, the rebirth in the mid-90s to where with Jingle Ball and everything else. There's so much more to go with the content. So hopefully this does well, because we'd love to see a part 2. Elvis Duran every morning, pretty much everywhere throughout the United States. But go to elvisduran.com, find a station that they're on in your area, or the iHeartRadio app. You find our show there. You find his thing. You have to dig for mine, but he's got a big banner. So you click on it, you'll find him right away. It's so much easier.
You got a big banner. I'm looking at it right now. It's very nice.
That only 2 people are seeing. There's that. And then also throw this in there too. Get his book. It's available wherever books are sold. Where Do I Begin? And it's also the audio book as well. Elvis does the narration for the entire book, which is a great listen to. Sir, thank you so much again for everything. Thank you for your time and your generosity. And I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me on. It's an honor to be here. It's good to be anywhere, especially here. So thank you very much, and have a great day, okay?
You too, buddy. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Elvis Duran.
Elvis Duran.
Z100.